Yes, hi, welcome to the show, Dr. Jen Haley, board certified dermatologist. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time and your wisdom that you're about to share with us, and I'm super excited for this conversation.
Thanks, Joshua. I'm so happy to be here, and we're going to have some really good talking. So
Yes,
let's get into it. I'm super excited to share this with you.
excellent. I wanted to let's give it a little background of like who you are, where you've been, what you do. Just maybe a little bit of synopsis of that, if you could.
Sure, sure. I'm a certain age, so the story gets pretty long, but I was born in New York, working class family, and I ended up going to Cornell pre-med, well, pre-vet,
Oh,
and then I
nice.
ended up pre-med and wanted to go to medical school, got some bad seasonal affective disorder, lack of sun, which fortunately we don't have here in Arizona. We're very
Yes.
blessed. And when I went to medical school, I wanted to go somewhere warm. So I applied to all different medical schools. And I did not realize that one of the medical schools I applied to was actually through the military out of Bethesda, Maryland. So
Okay.
I accidentally joined the military. And it was a gift because I was so lucky to be able to be in San Diego, Hawaii. I worked at the US Capitol,
Yeah.
taking care of people there. And it was just a really great experience. Then I got out, and now I pretty much I work in Arizona and Park City, Utah, and I consult for larger companies. I do some telemedicine online through a
Nice.
forum called Dermatologist on Call, and I'm just always trying to be a better person. So I've done everything from run marathons to do fitness competitions, and I just like to challenge myself.
That's beautiful. Sounds.
Yeah.
I love. I just recently attempted my first marathon and failed. So I'm excited to try doing that again and succeed. I got to mile 17 and I just pooped out, and it was because I followed my roommate's pace because I was running with my roommate and he was running an 8 mile pace right out the gate, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm probably a 9:30 pace, and I kept up for 10 miles, but then it just and I couldn't keep going after that. So next time I'm gonna train a little bit harder and run my own race rather than somebody else.
Absolutely. It's such a mental game, and if you
Yeah,
start off and you just feel good at the end, you can kind of take off, and that worked for me. I'm my genetically I'm more of a sprinter. I have kind of those
me too.
juicy muscles, so
Yeah.
I'm not really a long distance runner, which is all the more reason why I wanted to do it, just to prove that I could. But
That's exactly the mindset that I have. Yeah, I'm like, dude,
exactly.
I work with sprints. My body's not made for this. It's so much more difficult for me, but I want to achieve it, and so I'm gonna make it happen.
For
That's really
sure. You
cool.
will.
What other kind of sports competitions have you done?
So I did two NPC bikini competitions a couple of years ago
Nice.
after being a mom. I said, okay, I was working with my trainer. She said, you have, the right figure muscle to joint ratio. I had no idea what she was talking about. And I said, why not? I need a new challenge. So,
Yeah.
just going to the gym wasn't enough for me. So I it honestly the workouts weren't hard. It was just the not eating part that was hard. You really need to reduce your calories, but
Yeah.
it's fun. I mean, I'm pretty introverted and I'm shy, and going on stage half naked was interesting. So you have to build this new persona, and you wear these hair extensions, and it's just a whole to do. And it was a really fun experience. I don't know if I'd do it again. I might actually.
Yeah.
That's not out of the question. So I did two of those, one in Colorado and one in Utah. So
That's cool. That's
yeah.
fucking awesome.
My kids won't let me post the pictures on Instagram. They get embarrassed. Teenage boys don't want to see their mom in a bikini.
Oh man, whatever. My mom is in the same boat as you in terms of like looks and growing older and getting younger as she ages. And man, we have this interestingly cool relationship where we have a friendship and there's no boundaries about conversation or content
Yeah.
or anything. And some of the things she tells me, I'm like, I don't know if I need to know that, but hey, I'm glad that we got this kind of communication. So I don't know. I say live your life.
Yeah, it's good to have someone in your life that's very open though, and I like the fact that my kids can ask me any questions. I have some stories. I don't know if you'll
Yeah.
need to edit them out. My I'll tell you this one. My son and I were in line at the grocery store. He was about 8 years old, maybe 10. He was 10, and he points to the checkout counter, and there was a woman checking out, and he goes, "Mom, are those condoms?" I said, "Oh, we'll talk about that when we leave." So we leave. I said, "Why do you think those are condoms?" He said, "Well, it said good for 10 hours." I said, "Whoa, that's a lot of sex, Hudson." They were like tampons or panty liners or something like that.
Yeah.
But, I just thought the whole thing was pretty hysterical, and it ended up with him saying like you, like, "Oh, I shouldn't have asked that question," you know.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. My mom actually, I think she bought my first box of condoms.
That's yeah. I'm not there yet. Fortunately, I'm not there yet. I don't even actually want to think about that right now, Joshua.
No, it's fair. It's fair. It's fair. I don't think my mom wanted to either, but you know, it was more forced upon her rather than her being cool. Or it was more
Yeah.
like I called her and I was like, "Hey, mom, like I need some help." And she, you know, it's better to come to the rescue in that situation than not, I
Yeah.
believe.
And clearly, you're here, so you know she's had sex, so she gets it, right?
Yeah, everybody gets it. We
That's
all have sex,
that's
and
the
it's
truth. Yeah,
it's
we all
whatever,
have
man.
bodies.
Yes, it's part of being human, and I think it should be normalized. Like, and I think that's what we're trying to do by breaking those barriers and being able to have these kinds of conversations and with each other. And it's interesting. So I know you're a dermatologist, and I have a feeling that you have a few things that you wanted to talk about within that area.
I'm up to talk about anything you want to talk about.
Okay. I wanted to know, like, what is the main thing that you focused in dermatology? Like, how important, and also to add on to that, like, how important, and how much connection does dermatology and skin health relate to longevity?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question. I don't think as many people are as enlightened as you when it comes to that. So, I have to say my perspective has changed over the last 20 years. I've been a physician for 22 years. And in the beginning, I thought, oh, if I memorize all of the facts, I'm going to be able to cure and help everyone and make the world better.
Hmm.
And I became a little bit disillusioned after 10 or 15 years because I realized that we treat disease in medicine. And no matter how much I do with the medical knowledge I have, it's sort of reactive. And I
Hmm.
really believe in being proactive and doing, you know, giving the responsibility to the patient, to friends, family, everyone
Yes.
in the world that we love, and giving them knowledge and responsibility so that they can take the power into their own hands and create their own health, right?
I
Because
like that.
yeah, our body has the power to heal itself. So I'd often have people come in the office and say, "Oh, Dr. Haley, you cured me." I said, "No, I just distracted you while your body cured itself." And it's really true because if we do all the right things, if we give our body the opportunity to not be distracted with chemicals and toxins and hormone imbalances from stress, it actually has an amazing ability to cure itself, as
Yes.
well as the power of the mind. Our mind, I mean, the placebo effect is tried and true at least 30% of the time, to the point where people have cured cancer by thinking they're taking a pill to cure it when it's really a placebo pill. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
That stuff's crazy.
Yeah.
And
So
I hate
I
that
look
they rule out for that in scientific studies, though. It's like, well, yeah, the thing that's proven to work the most, let's just rule it out.
I know. And most of the time, the things that cost hundreds of dollars a month are 4% more, more effective than the placebo alone. So
Yeah.
that doesn't impress me very much. So the way I look at skin is the skin to me is it reveals your internal health. So when I look at someone,
That makes
it
sense.
really reveals what's going on inside your body. So your skin is an organ just like your liver or your heart or your brain or any other organ, and it's the visible organ that we can see. So if your skin isn't healthy, it's usually inflamed or sick on the inside as well. All of the other organs are going to be represented by the health of your skin. And that's different from how we define beauty. Healthy skin is different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's how I look at skin. If you have great blood flow to your skin, you're able to deliver nutrients and oxygen, just like you are to all the rest of the organs, and clean out all the toxic waste and the metabolic waste that we build up every day. So I love being able to do that,
Yeah.
without being invasive in people.
Yes, that's okay. So that's really cool. So your connection from skin to longevity would be your skin is a good telltale sign on the outside of what's going on the inside. And as long as your skin's good, it's probably a pretty good indicator of what's going on the inside, and that your longevity is probably going to be well as possible, or
That's what I
as well.
believe. Yep, I
Yeah.
believe that 100%. And at one point I was doing a lot of cosmetic treatments, and I was getting a little frustrated because I had some patients that had really unlimited income, they had unlimited resources, and they were paying hundreds of $1,000s for cosmetic procedures with plastic surgeons and dermatologists and other people in the industry. And to me, they didn't look good. They still did. They looked off. The
Yeah.
radiance wasn't there. The glow wasn't there. Just the vibrational aura we all want to have wasn't there. And that's when I kind of took a step back and I was like, well, what are you doing? And, maybe a lot of alcohol, a lot of pills, not a great diet, that people wanting to take shortcuts.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
And yeah, it really doesn't, unfortunately. I wish I had a magic pill to, make everybody appear the way they wanted to appear. But no, the power is within you and it's your decision and you can choose it or choose not to have it, right?
Right. Right. I'm curious. Does the connection to longevity work the other way? Is there anything that you can do topically to your skin or treat your skin or a way that you can behave towards your skin that will affect your longevity as well? Like maybe enhance your longevity rather than be a sign of
Yeah,
what is
that's a
going
good
on within that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think it's going to increase your overall longevity in your life, like your health span is.
Yeah.
I define longevity as health span because we know lifespan, we can keep people alive nowadays with medical procedures and putting them on, on devices and keeping them alive, but
Yeah.
that's not health span. So I define health span like David Sinclair, having a happy, healthy life.
Right.
And I don't think, honestly, there's anything that you can do topically that will increase your health span, although your skin will look better. So if
That's important.
avoid the sun, and the sun is really damaging for the skin. I'm not against the sun. I typically cover like what I call the high real estate areas with sunscreen because it gets sun every day, and I don't want tons of wrinkles and skin cancers and brown spots all over myself. But I like getting a little bit of sun on the body, as I think the vitamin D that's gotten from the sun or made from the sun with the help of other things. We need to take magnesium and K2 in order for it to get to where it needs to be.
Hmm.
Um, I
How
think
much
that,
magnesium in K2?
yeah, I play around with magnesium. I can't quite decide which version I like. I either do the biooptimizers or I'll do glycinate at night, or I'll do 3 and 8 during the day for the brain. But I minimally take
Are those
400
different brands you were
milligrams.
saying?
They're different types of magnesium. So
Oh, okay.
Biooptimizers is a brand and it has all the different types in it. And then I'll use a company called Pure Encapsulations. It's very clean. It's just a very, very clean brand. And they have specific versions like glycinate, which is more relaxing at night. 3 and 8, which is it crosses the blood-brain barrier. It's better for your brain. So there's different versions depending on what kind of effect you want. And I'll take about 400 milligrams a day, and that's what I recommend for my patients in general. If someone's having some twitching, like you ever get those little eye twitches, I'll have
Yeah.
them up, yeah, or migraines, I'll have them bump it up a little bit higher. So any sort of
Interesting.
spasm, yeah.
But you got to be
So
careful with that magnesium, though. It can make things liquid. Phew.
citrate. Yeah,
Huh?
so the citrate, if you take magnesium citrate,
Yeah.
which is the cheapest version of it, that'll go through your GI tract and you'll be at home on the toilet for a while.
Yeah, I accidentally overloaded my system with that with an electrolyte supplement and a like green immunity supplement from I can't remember the brand. Green Superfoods, Supergrass, the company
Amazing
Supergrass.
grass?
Amazing Grass. There
Yeah,
you
I
go.
like
Yeah.
amazing grass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amazing Grass. I had one of their immunity boost thing, and then I had an electrolyte boost, and they both had magnesium, probably citrate. Is that what it is?
It probably citrate. It's one of the least expensive, but it goes
Probably
right
that.
through you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the double of that screwed me up. But I was talking to my brother about it, and he's really knowledgeable on the actual science of things. And he was like, just what are you taking your supplements? Bah, bah. And he said, cut down your magnesium, and you'll be good to go. And I did, and it worked. So I was like,
Yeah. Or
interesting.
change the version. Just change the version
Yeah,
to. So Biooptimizers makes a really good one that you could take 4 pills a day. I usually do 2 at noon and then 2 at night. Or you could just take the glycinate at night, but the citrate, and those won't affect your GI. They won't do the same thing. Hopefully it
yeah.
wasn't when you were running.
What's
Was it when you
GI?
were running?
What when I was running?
The
The
magnesium.
oh yeah, no. It
Okay,
was
good.
it was in my normal I have that on a circadian rhythm, and so it was on the normal time.
Good. Good. So our soil's really low in magnesium and a lot of minerals and nutrients. So even if you're consuming a healthy diet, you're kind of deficient in magnesium, and then zinc is another big one we're deficient in.
Yeah,
And often, especially in Arizona, our copper levels are really high because we used to mine copper here, right? So our copper levels are high in the water, and what happens is copper displaces, so copper, iron, and zinc kind of all displace each other. So they need to be in this perfect balance. So if the copper levels are too high, the zinc goes low. And a lot of times I'll see people with acne and I'll give them, 25 to 50 milligrams of zinc a day and their acne goes away. It's just
I
so
might try
simple.
that. I might try that because I get a little bit of acne, but I just chalk it up to wearing a hat sometimes when I work out, and then I ride a motorcycle, so I'm taking on and off my motorcycle helmet,
Yeah.
and it's happening right where the padding and the hat is. So,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
not really
common.
anywhere else. But I'm thinking, could the zinc help with that, or do you think that's from the hat and the padding?
I think that's probably from occlusion and friction and sweat. We see that a lot in like football players on their chin or
Yeah.
athletes, anywhere there's occlusion going on. So I'm not sure, but it doesn't hurt to take 25 milligrams of zinc a day,
Okay.
especially in Arizona. More can hurt your iron and your copper. So more is not better, not the American
It's
way.
so crazy that we're just this perfect like ecosystem that needs to be in homeostasis, and it's so easy to tip it the other one way or the other. Man, that's crazy. Okay, so and you also said K2 as well. What?
Yeah, K2 helps direct the calcium in your body to go to the right place. So whenever
Okay.
I recommend somebody supplement with vitamin D, I have them do vitamin D with K2. And I think that company Pure Encapsulations or maybe Thorne, Thorne, has like a liquid one to do. And you want to take your vitamin D in the morning. But we're so lucky here in the sunshine. I just get outside every day. That sunlight resets our eyes, it resets our pineal gland, it gets all the hormones balanced for the day.
Yeah.
Sunlight is such a cure. I actually have a Juve red light here in my office. I go in front of the Juve red light whenever I can,
I
just
have like a cheap knockoff version of that. Those things are getting cheaper and cheaper by the day. I think like brands in probably China or whatever are knocking off it. Because you can buy like the Juve small light is like $300, but you can go on Amazon and buy like an off brand one for $50
yeah,
now.
it's not the same as far as the intensity of the red light, but
Oh,
you're
nice.
still
Okay.
going to get some benefits. But I
Yeah.
mean, we're really just trying to mimic the sun,
Right.
So a little bit of sunlight, 10 to 15 minutes. And it's so interesting because 20 years ago, I'd say, stay out of the sun. It's so bad for you. And, my tune has changed a little bit because sunlight, I mean, it grows things. It
Yeah.
grows plants. It's powerful. It's a powerful energy source. Like, why would we not want to use what Mother Nature has? It's the best thing provided, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I personally I like to get out in the sun at least once a day. Once a day for in the morning before 10 a.m. for some sunlight exposure to my eyes. And I
Yeah.
found that that had a direct and immediate response to my quality of sleep at night. Is getting out into the sun in the morning and having that the full spectrum of light hit your eyes, and it has. I mean, I also wear blue light blocking glasses at night and
Yeah.
do like a red filter on my phone. So I think those two combination of things has a drastic effect on the quality of my sleep in a positive way, and it's very cool.
Agree, 100%. That's spot on, 100%. That's so true. Yeah, it is important to get it on your eyes first thing in the morning, without glasses. And really, 10 to 15 minutes is enough. I'm not advocating people bake in the sun like a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, no, no good, no good. So I'm also oh, before we move on, for vitamin D, how much and what kind and what source?
Yeah, I know this is tough for vegans, but vitamin D3 is the best source. It's
Hmm.
better than the D2. It just works better. And I like the liquid in from Pure Encapsulations and Thorne. I just like that those two. And it's fat soluble, so you don't have to take it every day like a B vitamin. It will stay in your body if you kind of mega dose it. Although I think optimally I recommend 5,000 a day. There's no risk of real side effects with up to 10,000 a day, but higher than that, I can't really advocate. So, but I think the FDA approves like 800 IU a day, which is ridiculous. So
Yeah.
5,000 a day is what I recommend. And I like when you get your serum levels measured, I like it between 50 and 80. That's sort of the optimal
Okay.
amount. And your energy, your immune system is boosted. It's really amazing. So
Yeah, and there's a direct correlation with the severity of the effect of the current virus going on with vitamin D levels. So that's also really important and really helpful information for anybody out there right now, because as we all know, the president isn't even impermeable from that.
exactly.
Okay. Curious. Another question on dermatology. Is there any kind of regular routine or checkup or anything that you would recommend for people to do like throughout their lives at certain points of ages? Like how should we make sure that our skin is healthy as we're young and as we age, and anything about that?
Sure. So, going back to the skin being a sign of what else is going on in the body, I kind of clump most rashes into inflammatory reactions because of an imbalanced immune system. So, once again, I always look at the whole person when something like that is happening. And breath work and meditation every day really play a giant role with that. As far as seeing a board certified dermatologist, and you want to go to a board certified dermatologist when you have someone evaluate your skin, because surprisingly, you can go through medical school and not do one day of dermatology at all.
What?
And be best.
Or
Go
nutrition.
ahead. Oh, we know that. Yeah, I studied that undergrad, and everything I studied at Cornell is completely wrong now. It was like
Yeah.
eat Snackwell cookies.
Man, so did I just hear you correctly? And you said that meditation and what was
Breath work.
breath work. I'm so sorry, brain
Yeah.
fart. Are directly correlated to the health of your skin
Through the immune system.
through the immune system. Magnificent. That's good news.
Yeah.
I think that's important because I'm really trying to hammer home to a lot of people like breath work and meditation are big pillars of what I stand for, and that's really cool that we just got another freaking reason to do
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Another reason, because being in a sympathetic tone all the time and having high cortisol and that fight or flight or freeze reaction going on all the time, it really destroys all of the hormone balance in the body. And that can affect everything from acne to eczema and psoriasis, because they're all immune reactions. So the whole entire immune system gets imbalanced when we don't have parasympathetic tone. So breathing, just deep breathing, and you can well, I know we're going to talk about 40 Years of Zen, and it's really cool because they determine your optimal breath rate depending on your personalized heart rate variability with the
Mhm.
device they put on you. But if you don't have that opportunity, I like Andrew Weil's breath, where you inhale for 4, you hold for 7, and you exhale for 8. And you can do that 4 or 5 times while you're driving in the grocery line. And no one needs to see that you're even doing it, and you're
Yeah.
doing it, and your entire state of mind changes. It's impossible to be angry or reactive when you're doing that. It really is.
That's
So,
cool. Yeah, and it just brings you into a state of mindfulness and grounds you to the moment that you're in. Breathwork is super powerful. I've been trying to make it a habit to be on a constant breath pattern of 6 in, 6 out, 6 in, 6 out. Just like slowly breathing rather than the like normal
yeah.
shallow breathing that we all got going on.
And through the nose.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I just freaking realized 3 months ago I learned that you're supposed to breathe through your nose for the first time, and my whole life I've been breathing through my mouth, and so it's been a challenge retraining that, and especially while I run. Like while I run, I've been having to retrain that, and oh my goodness, the only thing that would really help was I put water in my mouth and held it there, and would run with that for like 3 miles, and then gulp it, and then breathe a little bit, and take a little bit more, and then keep running. But that trained me because you have to keep the water in your mouth, so you can't open your mouth, so you got to breathe through your nose.
That's super impressive. I don't
Thank
think I
you.
could do that. I was mountain biking yesterday, and I'm breathing through my mouth, and I just basically said, screw it. I can't be expected to breathe through my nose all the time.
Well,
So, okay, I'm motivated. If you can do it running, I'm going to try it mountain biking tomorrow.
oh, you can definitely do it. It's all like I've been realizing that fucking everything is a breathwork practice. Like everything. Like it all is. It's just like if you can get your breath down, you can run forever. As long as your muscles aren't weak. But
It's really disheartening to me, because the more I really listen to the information that comes in, the more I realize that everything that really helps our bodies and longevity and make us powerful, wonderful human beings and connected to each other, it's free and it's internal. And society and pharmaceutical companies and all the marketing, they want us to be consumers, and they want us to buy things, and everything's within us. I mean, we
yeah.
don't need to externalize and get all of that from outside. We can do it within us if we're not fearful and we have the courage to do it, right?
Right, it's that ancestral living, getting back
Yeah.
to the roots. Yeah, I love me and my brother were talking about biohacking at its most fundamental level the other day, and he said something pretty cool. He referenced it as biohacking is pretty much just trying to enact the same things that happen when you go camping in the wilderness for a week without doing it.
It's pretty true. It's pretty true. I'm not a great camper, I must admit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like to glamp. Glamp is better.
Yeah, I'm good with glamping. Yeah, no one's
Okay.
perfect, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not. So speaking of biohacking, the father of biohacking, did you get to meet him?
No,
No, it's
I didn't meet Dave Asprey. He does the 30th, whatever the 30th was, he had a meeting with the Zen people. We have
yeah.
like a mastermind group. We get to talk once a month. So he like answer questions and stuff like that. But no, he wasn't there. And
I
to
guess
be
that makes
honest,
sense. He's probably
yeah,
got too much going on.
I think he runs like 5 businesses and he lives well, he lives in Canada right now, so I don't
On a
even know if he
farm.
can cross the border. Yeah, he
Oh
can't even
yeah,
cross the
wow, he
border.
can't. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Huh.
I know.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah. But
Strange times.
the neuroscientists there are so incredible. It's
Yes, a little bit of context first.
yeah.
So you went to Dave Asprey's the creator of Bulletproof, 40 Years of Zen, which is where you go and you get neurofeedback therapy. Is that how you would describe it?
It's so much more than that.
Okay, excellent. Let's go. Dive deep. Tell me everything. I'm so excited to hear about this, and I know a lot
Yeah,
of other people are. So let's do it.
it's really neat, and I'm so excited to share this. There's a sleep challenge group that Dave put together on Facebook, and a lot of people from around the world that can't
Oh, I saw
necessarily
that.
go to 40 Years of Zen. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I did a little Zoom call with them, and not everyone can make it, so I'm definitely going to share this with them. Just so you know where I was coming from, I guess I'm kind of a biohacker. I never considered myself to be a biohacker, but I didn't follow Bulletproof, and I didn't really know a lot about Dave, to be honest with you, except for his podcast. I love podcasts,
I
obviously, which is
love his
why
podcast.
I know your podcast. Yeah. So I love podcasts. I'm really auditory. I listen to podcasts when I'm doing chores around the house, when I'm biking, when I'm hiking, when I'm in the car. I like to learn from people in an auditory fashion. That's how it works for me. So I listen to his podcast religiously and I love the information. I love the people on it. And he would kind of slip in 40 Years of Zen here and there, right? So whenever I listen to a podcast, I'll grasp some information and I basically write it on my phone. So I had it on my phone and COVID hit, got a lot of free time on our hands. So I
Yeah.
finally went to my checklist on the phone and I looked it up and I said, gosh, this seems pretty cool. So I got on the email list because that's what I do, because I'll forget to contact them again and then I know I'll get emails. And the summer came and my trip to Switzerland was canceled. I was going to take my boys and myself on this really cool, expensive backroads trip to Switzerland, and it was canceled. And I already had, you know, designated that money for a trip, right?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I have this money. I'm always spending money on other people and doing things for my family and my kids. I'm gonna do something for myself. Yeah, I'm worth it, right?
Of course.
I just turned 40. Yeah, I just turned 49 this week,
Happy birthday.
and when you hit like mid-century, mid-century modern, when you hit mid-century, I start thinking, well, what can I do to make myself a better person as opposed to just become set in my ways and let it all die down from here, right? So
Hmm.
I said, I have not worked on my brain. I study, but I only study in the ways that I know how. I know something about neurofeedback. And
What is neurofeedback for those who don't know?
yeah. So when I was in medical school, they told us that the number of neurons, which are your brain cells that are formed by a certain age, that's all you have. And if you damage them, then you won't get any more. And your brain just kind of dies away
Yeah, I
after
remember hearing that.
25, right?
Yeah.
So now we know about something called neuroplasticity, which is basically the ability. So if you imagine there's highways in our brain, right? So there's hiking paths that are really, really well traveled, and then there's some hiking paths that are not well traveled. So you have
Hmm.
very well traveled paths, like your brain doesn't have to think when you drive home from work every day because you go the same way every day. But it would have to think hard if you tried to find a new way and navigate a new way, right?
Right.
So neurofeedback basically, I think of it as trying to train the lazy areas of the brain to maximize their capacity to work, and
Okay.
rather than overuse the areas that are the most traveled, right?
Yeah.
So we all have triggers and we respond the same way to the same situation every time, even if it doesn't serve us,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So neurofeedback helps train different reactions to, whether it's situations or the way you solve a problem, or, tapping into, like, this area was kind of lazy for me and this area was kind of overactive.
Wow,
It,
you know
it
the actual
helps.
part. That's cool. That's really cool.
Well, yeah. So, I can talk about all of my experience with 40 years of Zen, but other people's experiences are sacred, obviously. So I can't talk about other people's experiences. And also, so like when I talk about my experience, I can go through every day and what we did and stuff. It doesn't mean that if someone chooses to go, like if you go, yours will be the same exact experience. Like it's going to be very personal. So
Interesting.
yeah, there's 6 people maximum that go to 40 years of Zen a week, and there's more staff than you. And you show up and they do a brain map, and that you can kind of see what's working and how it's working and where you're overactive. So for me, I had very high beta, which is like, those drug dogs that they smell that smell and they just keep going for it again and
Yeah.
again. That was me basically. If you give me a checklist, I can get that checklist done and I won't let anything interrupt it until it got done. And my whole life I thought that, like, that was my powerful part. Like, oh, if I just study hard enough, I'll be able to be whatever I want. If I just run hard enough, I could run my marathon. If I just train hard enough, I could do X, Y, and Z. But what was happening is that area was so overactive and the other areas were almost dead and quiet, that it was almost like you were using your arm to do all the work of your other arm and your legs at the same time. And
Oh
the other
man.
areas were getting no work. So I was kind of exhausting myself by not using the full capacity of my brain. So once I learned that, we went through strategies doing neurofeedback and other things. There's quite a bit of therapy that goes on as well, both in those pods. Have you
Hmm.
seen those pods that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They look like little eggs that you can, like human-sized eggs you can get inside of.
Yeah. So the head neuroscientist, he created it like a womb. So it kind of feels like a big,
Oh.
beautiful womb.
Couldn't that be traumatic for some people who like were C-sectioned?
Oh, that's a great question. I guess they would have to find out.
Right?
Yeah, I wasn't C-section, and it's fascinating because you go through these resets where you think of any memory that may have bothered you, and there's a
These
whole
resets are happening within the course
yeah, they're in the
while
pod.
you're in the pod. Okay.
Yeah, so the way we were set up, because we had one advanced group and one beginner group, is the advanced group, they were working as a threesome with a facilitator, and the beginner group was working as a threesome with a facilitator. So you go in the pods for 30 to 90 minutes. The first day is 30 minutes, and then after that, it's 90 minutes twice a day. And the facilitator gives you ideas and programs that you're supposed to work on in there. So it's
What do you mean by ideas and programs you're supposed to work on?
yeah. So so I think I'm allowed to share this. Okay, so for instance, you come up with a trigger. So the trigger could be the guy cut me off on the road, right?
Yeah.
And you basically charge the person. So I could tell you my earliest trigger. So you were going back to the C-section. Some people have memories that come up from, like, babies, being a
Right.
baby, right? And it's amazing what comes up. And the fact is that if it comes up, it's valid. Don't disregard it. If it comes up in your mind, out of all the millions and millions of memories that you've had, if that comes up, it's doing something to you. There's
Hmm.
something that is making it pervasive in your mind that you're still thinking about it at this age. So my earliest memory, I was in a high chair. And so I must have been under 2, right? Like
Yeah.
probably 1.5. And I was sitting there eating spaghetti, and my mom was talking on the phone. And I remember being very mad because she was not oohing and eyeing and giving me attention, right?
Sounds like a kid.
Yeah. So, because I wanted to be important, I wanted to be validated, right? So,
Hmm.
what I had to do in the pod, you have earphones on and you listening to noise. And when you're in the alpha, we did alpha wave training. When you're in the alpha wave state, you hear gongs and this white noise. It's beautiful. You kind of become addicted to the sound by the end of the course and you miss it. So if I am in the pod and I start falling asleep, they'll wake you up. They could tell looking at your brain waves. Or if I start planning out my day,
Yeah.
I don't get any gongs or any noise. There's no feedback coming on, right? So you
Huh.
kind of get this feedback based on your brain waves. So that's where the the nervous system, the brain, and then feedback. So when you're in the right brain wave, you get the feedback that you're doing it correctly. And that's building new highways. It's sort of like building the path in the trail, and it's getting deeper and deeper the more you go into it, right? So I'm in the high chair. I have to do a charge. You have to charge the person, and you charge them like you would never charge them in person, you know?
What do you mean by
Mom,
charge them?
I'll tell you. So the
Yeah.
charge is every feeling you felt when you were in that situation that you need to let out for your emotional well-being. So, Mom, why didn't you pay attention to me? I'm a precious child. You should give me the love that I deserve and all the attention, and you're just ignoring me here. And you just go on and say whatever you feel, right?
Hmm.
And you're saying it in your head. Nobody's there with you. They're outside monitoring you, right? And then you go through that. And then the next stage is you go through the gift. What is the gift? What did you get out of that experience? What was the gift from that experience? Oh, well, my mom trusted me to feed myself. I got to be curious and play with my food without having someone micromanage me and look over me.
Oh man,
I,
that's
you know,
insightful.
yeah, I could,
I
well,
was
you,
thinking to
you
myself, like, what could have possibly come out of that? But
right?
that's really cool.
Yeah, I learned to be independent, and it's really a beautiful thing to be able to be curious as a child without someone sitting there saying, no, do it like this, do it like that. I got to play with spaghetti. It's
Yeah.
great. So that, when you think about it and you do the gift and you have facilitators afterwards, you're going over this with them. So if it's not quite right, then they'll give you new projects to go over when you go in the room. And then the last part, which to me I think is the most important part, is you need to forgive them. So do you forgive them? And you can't say, well, I forgive them because they just don't get it. Like you can't
Yeah.
have forgiveness from that kind of a place. It has to come from an empathic and a loving place. So yes, I forgave her because she, first of all, most of the time you can forgive people once you realize that it wasn't about you, right?
Yeah.
So it
I
really
like the
wasn't about
saying
me.
that I'm sorry, but that forgiveness is a selfish act.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's really good. I like that. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I forgave her because, maybe she was on the phone with a friend who needed her for something very important that I wasn't aware of. I forgave her because she had confidence in me to be able to take care of myself. I forgave her because maybe didn't she didn't think I needed anything else besides food. How did she know that I needed all of that attention, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
interesting.
So you go through all that, and the key is sometimes you do these what we call resets for yourself. You have to forgive yourself. Like I, because we're responsible for half the situation all the
Yeah.
time, right? So going back to that, why didn't I show her that I needed attention, right?
Yeah.
So in
Yeah,
all
because you can't
relationships,
just expect people to read your mind. You have to communicate with people in order to achieve an understanding.
exactly. So you do those resets so that your unconscious programs can become conscious. And once they're conscious and you work through them, you don't kind of suppress them. You don't want to suppress them. You want to work through things. It brings you to a higher level. It's really like a beautiful level of love, and understanding and curiosity. So things that may have triggered you in the past because of those set beliefs and set patterns
Hmm.
instead come from a place of curiosity. Like if you said, Jen, you really look disgusting, you shouldn't be on my podcast today, I would say, okay, well, it wouldn't be like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
It would be more like, okay, well, let me understand better what exactly you're looking for, what's your goal here, and how can I help you achieve that goal, right? That's a very different approach to things that's going to set new paths in your life in all of your relationships.
Yeah. That's really beautiful. Um, wow. Okay. That's a
Yeah.
lot. So you're creating. So when you're making these introspective realizations, are these like how are you? So that's part of the reset. So are they? Is something going on in the screen, or is somebody talking to you? They let you know that you're going from the feedback loop and then moving on to the resets of trying to do that introspective? And then also, while you're doing those resets and you're having those thoughts of like, oh, I should have communicated with my mom, or had these thoughts, is anybody aiding you in creating those thoughts, or is that all inside?
No, that's all up to you. So you go through what you determine you need to for resets, and then you talk about it afterwards in your group.
Okay.
So
So you got like group therapy session afterwards?
yeah, just imagine, yeah, there's three people in the facilitator, and you just have to imagine like the most loving and accepting place on earth.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you could even imagine that, I don't think most of us have experienced that. It's it's this place where judgment and expectations, they just don't exist, and everyone embraces each other for their unique selves and wants the best for each other and supports each other through the process. It's really intimate and authentic in that way, and that's the beauty of it for me, is the people that were there and the knowledge that they bring to help you work through these things. And it's not just resets, there's other things, but you're getting feedback from the headphones and the gongs and the white noise the whole time, knowing that you're in the zone. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then you go do your groups, and then you do other things as well. So, when we're talking about all these unconscious programs and these prevailing thoughts that we have in our minds, they're all based on experiences and memories in the past, right? So we kind of have to reframe those experiences and memories so they don't become these deep-seated triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about the neuroplasticity, like we have this ability to rewire our brains through the electrodes, right? But we also need to change our perception of the world through the work that we do in the small groups, right?
Right.
And then that end result, it changes our experiences and our interactions with other people and with ourselves. So I found afterwards, like, I wasn't working that hard and everything was still getting done. Like, I almost felt a little guilty at first. I had to work through that because I was so used to gritting through every little thing.
Like
And now,
in life, you weren't working very
yeah,
hard.
yeah, because my brain would always have to be on overdrive. Like I would wake up in the morning with this incredible to-do list, and I have to run out the door and I have to exercise. And now I just wake up and I do my breathing and I know it will all get done. And it always does get done. And when
That's
I'm
a nice
doing it,
shift.
yeah, I'm in
Did
the
that come
moment.
from this?
100%. So the
Okay.
really cool thing is it doesn't all come right away. So right afterwards, I noticed changes, but I'm about 6 weeks after now. I notice more and more changes every day.
Could you take me through those change experiences that you were experiencing then, and then what's been happening since?
Yeah. So if you had met me before, I would almost be waiting to talk, until you like, I would almost want to talk while you were still talking. And now I'm just like, I'm enjoying this full absorption of everything you have to say without this urgency to have to speak. Like the beauty of what you're saying is heard differently. I hear people very differently. I
Hmm.
truly hear them, as opposed to making assumptions of what I'm hearing from them or what I think they're going to say.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's probably something that most of us could only dream of achieving. That's really, really cool. Yeah, because the not having any assumptions or not making any assumptions, that's one of the things that I'm working on right now, like super hard, and that's really difficult. And also I was listening to that the radio show that you did that you sent me, and you do seem, I guess for lack of a better word, more zen than you were then. Like then I could tell, like from now that you say that, it registers in my brain. Like I can think back to the vibe that you had on there, and you were like, answer the question, go go go, like on an espresso, and now you're just chill and you're ready to answer the questions, and the presence is different, and that's really beautiful. That's cool. Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. So going back to you just mentioned the espresso. So I was I was gonna do Zen. I was gonna do Zen in July, and so they screen you to see if you're a good candidate,
Hmm.
and you have to go off caffeine for 7 days before. And I was a
Oh man.
huge coffee person.
Yeah.
I'm talking like I could do surgery after a 10-shot latte.
Yeah.
Like I really was a big coffee person. So I didn't end up going until August because it took me a good month and a half to get off caffeine. And after discovering what this part of my brain does, I really don't have coffee anymore. I do this other stuff that's cool. You might be interested in it. It's called mud water. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. Is it made of kava?
No, it's
No?
not made of kava. I do true kava as well. I actually ran out. I need to order more. No, it has masala chai,
Okay.
reishi mushrooms,
Ooh.
some cacao, and some other mushrooms and stuff.
Okay.
Oh, I think like cardamom. I don't know. It's really
M-
tasty and it has
mushrooms are
neat.
magnificent.
Yeah, I feel really good on it, and I
Yeah.
feel more even throughout the day. It's not like this roller coaster and then crash kind of thing. Um, but I want to go back to the brain. So it's really interesting, Joshua, because like I've realized all the answers are within ourselves. So if I'm struggling with something or I have a bad interaction or I get that email that just wants to throw you off the edge, instead of being reactive, I'm not reactive at all anymore. I'll go sit and meditate on it for, 10 or 20 minutes and just breathe through it.
Yeah.
And the answers just come. I mean, our brains know it. And if we change our brain, we really change our reality. Our whole reality changes just by changing our brain.
Yes. Yes, I definitely firmly believe that. I've been changing my brain over the past few months just with different practices such as meditation, breath work, changing the health, gratitude journaling, meditation, all the above, and I can physically feel the difference of the way that I interact with the world. Like I used to get really angry and really reactional to different things, and like I'm so much more like think before you do, not react immediately, and just or even the reaction immediately could just be like hands off or understanding or instead of that anger reaction or temperament, and it's really cool to see the mindfulness work in real time. I
Right?
like to say that mindfulness is a superpower.
It really is. It's this humble confidence that you have within you that everything's going to be just fine. And, going back to like the anger, I find that that's really common in men because in our society, we don't really give men, and I have two boys, and I try to give them permission to show emotions because you need to work through emotions. It's imperative to work through emotions in order to kind of get to the next level and understand why you felt that way, because that's the beauty of being human, is our ability to have these feelings and express emotions. It's so unique and beautiful. Why suppress it? I love
Yeah.
the whole spectrum of human emotions. I love the whole human experience. It's just
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, being a human is probably the best thing. Cool. Okay, so you're in 40 years of Zen. You're doing the feedback loops. You're doing the resets. You're doing the group therapy. What else are you guys doing?
um you have some lectures where you kind of change, you realize the words you use create an internal dialogue
The I ams.
in your brain, and almost, like, I'll say just a lot. Just means you're taking away the significance of what you're saying, right? So just or should or need, like those sort of words don't really serve anyone well.
Mm-hmm.
So the words, sort of like neurolinguistic programming, the words you use program your brain, and also
Like if you say I'm a loser, or I suck, or I'm not smart, or I can't read, or I can't do this, or you're not this, or you're not that, well then you aren't.
yeah, or I can't, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, what does that mean? Is it because you're afraid? Okay, well, let's go through the worst case scenario. What's the worst case scenario? Okay, well, I'll be embarrassed. Is that the worst case scenario? Have you ever been embarrassed before?
Yeah.
Did you handle it? Did you survive? Do you love that enough to try to do it? So you work through things like that in your small groups. And then, so the head neuroscientist is also a Chinese medicine doctor. So they review supplements with
Cool.
you and do some powerful herbs. I mean, it's exhausting. So you've done marathons, or, once you do 17 miles, you've done the marathon, just saying. But, and so your brain is running a marathon every day. I'm not joking. You're there 10 to 12 hours a day, just depending on what you're going on. So you're doing the pods, you're doing the small groups. we're doing lectures, and then there's also this cap training. I don't know if you saw on my Instagram, there's a picture of me wearing a cap. I call it a spider, but it's a cap. It has like these arms,
Yeah.
and you look at a screen and you actually have to think to make certain lines turn a certain way. And that's forging new pathways in the brain in the lazy areas.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, and it's for me, that was the hardest thing. So as soon as I was like, yeah, 89%, they'd come over and they'd tweak the computer. Then it was really hard again, you know?
Yeah.
So you're hearing music and you're seeing lights. So you're getting visual and auditory stimulation. That's a feedback, you know, it's a feedback loop telling you you're doing it correctly. And then it would be like dead silence with none of that really good music playing. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, work harder, work harder. And then if you get stressed out, it's not working. So you have to kind of calm yourself down and allow the power of your brain to work. That was hard. And then the other thing we did was stim training. They put like little electrodes in, for me, from my lazy area, and other people, they might put it here. If someone has like motivation issues, they might put the stim here. But for me, it was back here. And
Is
I
that
didn't
just
know
that
any.
regular like muscle stimulation things that you can buy?
I honestly don't even know how the science works. I just
Okay.
know I had to sit there, and it was kind of interesting because sometimes you'll see little,
You're like,
like, no, it wasn't twitching. It was almost like my visual hallucinations. I would be seeing
that's
like
trippy. That's
things.
crazy. That's amazing.
It's really,
Huh.
it's really, really interesting.
How's the
It's,
food?
oh my God, ridiculously good. So I actually went bulletproof afterwards. So the chef, she's such an amazing chef. And I'm kind of picky with food because I'm just picky with food. So I thought I would need to supplement the food there. I didn't need to eat a single thing besides what they provided. So they had like a whole table of bars and, you know, all of Dave's bulletproof stuff.
Yeah.
And the chef, she makes her own chips, and they're so good. They're like these delicious, they're flaxseed chips, but they're really tasty, and
Ooh.
they fill the salt craving. And yeah, we just got, you know, they you don't have to have breakfast. Like most people didn't eat breakfast, but I did eat breakfast. So she'd make a breakfast for me, and
Nice.
you know, I just went into it saying whatever they serve me, I know it's going to be the best of food and I'm going to eat it. So the food was
Oh yeah,
fabulous.
especially from Dave Asprey. Oh
It
man,
was good. Yeah,
if
I
there's
knew it.
anybody, if there's anybody that I trust for providing me with the most delicious, best food and nourishing food of all time, it'd be that guy.
For
Because
sure, for sure.
you know he spent a
Yeah,
lot of money and thought into just preparing the things. So
exactly.
before I continue asking questions, how much time do you have left? Are you
Oh,
on
I'm good.
schedule?
I cleared.
You're
Yeah, no,
cleared.
I'm good. I cleared for you because
Okay.
I felt so bad about rescheduling. So
Oh, you're good.
yeah.
I don't have anything to do till later tonight, so we're good. Cool. So food's good, everything's good. And I wanted to actually go back a little bit. So the changes that you've experienced. So it's the mindfulness. Is there more to that? Is there more that you've been experiencing that we can dive into?
I took notes. Do you mind if I look down and write?
Please,
Okay,
I have a
I'll write.
notepad here. You're
Okay.
good.
So, I noticed for me, and this is me, you know, based on how I was before, I was really kind of a roller coaster person before, very up and down. And I thought that was kind of normal, like to
Hmm.
be overly emotional. You know, I just, not really a dramatic person, but I felt internally that I was very up and down all the time. And now I feel really way more even keel, almost like I feel boring, but I know it's not boring now. It's this
It's Zen.
peaceful. It,
It's Zen.
it
You're
is Zen.
Zen.
You know, it took me, I was a little uncomfortable with it at first. I'm going to be honest with you because I thought that in order to feel alive, I had to have that overstimulation all the time. And once I understood what was going on with my brain, because just again, they're really amazing there. And I see your cat. It's really cute.
I forgot she was in
She's
here.
cute.
She was hiding behind the curtains.
Yeah, she's really cute. I
That's
mean, they're really amazing there. They help you understand your brain so you could reflect. If you want to reflect, you have to be ready for something like this because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of reflection and it's a lot of admitting responsibility for the patterns that you've set up in your life. So for me, I notice I'm a lot more even keel. I don't really get frustrated or aggravated over little things like I used to. I just don't.
that's
Um,
so wonderful. I think that's I don't know. For me, that's been one of the biggest pursuits of like changing within myself is making that happen. So that's really cool that you got that from that.
It's a big one for me. And the other thing is, I tend to trust the universe more and have confidence that everything's going to work out as it should, but while also knowing that I have an active role to play, right? So there's a
Yeah,
fine line between being like, oh, whatever will happen, versus I want to manifest X, Y, and Z. And I know that I need to do these couple things in order to make that happen. And then, boom, I'm going to surrender and allow whatever's in the highest good of all to happen, right?
yeah,
So that's a beautiful thing. Whereas before, I would have an intention to do something. I would try to I'd perseverate over it for a long period of time. I'd try to fix and manage and control everything. And guess what? It still would happen as it should have happened, but
right.
I'd waste a lot of energy in the interim. So my energy is very preserved now.
That's so cool. That's so cool that you say that and make that connection and word that the way that you did, because I feel like I've actually been going through the same change lately. And today, I was presented with an actual real time example of that working in real time, of the universe providing and everything as it should, and bringing things to fruition with thought and actions. But then you also have an active role in that. And for me, what I experienced today was like I have a business degree that means really nothing with the work experience that I have right now, in terms of like where I would like to go in life at all, which is marketing and business and online and all of those things. And so I talked to a recruiter one time, and he told me that pretty much the only thing that the thing that you need to do to make any of the moves that you'd like to is to get an internship. And so like I've been playing with that thought for a while, and I have looked it up on Indeed a few times, and I just never find anything that interests me or that seems like it would be my avenue or worth the pursuit. And so at once I stopped getting really frustrated at it. I stopped looking at Indeed every single day, like obsessing over the new posts. And today, a opportunity presented itself where I was in a conversation with somebody, and at the very end I was like, hey, can I work for you for free? And he said yes, and I was like, excellent, great, 100%. That's amazing. And so it just goes to show, like, and then it took me a little bit after that, I was like, whoa, I was like, okay. And then a couple other things lined up that happening, the thought process of that even happening today. Like my mom sent me a podcast where I heard a single line in it that promoted the thought of even asking that question. So without her sending me that podcast or hearing that line, I would have never had the thought to ask the question. And it just all today, and now I have it. And it's cool. And it took both that active role and the universe putting things into place.
So you manifested that and you listened.
That's the word I was looking for. Manifested. I
Yeah.
couldn't think of that word.
You manifested that and you listened. So the power of manifestation is pretty magnificent. And I think we all have that power. I don't think it's anyone special that has that power. The issue is that we get so busy and caught up in this world where we should do things. We should get a certain job. Well, that job doesn't exist, so I'm going to create a job that exists for me and my
Yeah.
background, what I want to do and what my passion is, right? Because nothing's a waste. Sometimes I think I went to school for so long and I'm not in a clinic every day. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It will work out because I'm living authentically, and it does work out. And when you're living in that space, which you are, things present. And the podcast, that message came through just like it does for all of us, but you were in a place where you could listen.
Yes.
So that's the thing. It's like we're getting messages all the time. I've been getting blue butterflies everywhere I go. It's so crazy.
Like in real
I,
life? Like actual blue butterflies?
no, symbols of blue butterflies. And
Okay.
I keep
Ooh.
asking my really intuitive friends, like, what does this mean? And, I can't figure it out. And I will figure it out, but it's a
Yeah.
very specific symbol I keep getting. And, just have to figure that one out. But I mean, we all get these things and we either choose to listen to it or we don't choose to listen to it. There's
Yeah.
just so much more going on.
There's so much more going on. Just like how when you think of somebody and they call you or text you or crazy premonitions like that, or you run across somebody that you're thinking about, like in the grocery store. Those things happen. They're real and they're provable. Not to mention, faith healing is actually scientifically provable now, which is insane.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's
Yes,
really beautiful. Not that I would only go to that, but it's out there.
it's worth
It's
a try. I mean, especially if you're
for
terminal
sure.
or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
I would say that before some pharmaceuticals.
Everything's energetic, everything's energetic. And I think what you put out there, you energetically attract to you. And also what you put your attention on is what's going to grow in your life. So, one of the other things I learned at 40 Years of Zen is that if you are, it's sort of like Mother Teresa. Someone said, "Hey, um, will you protest against war?" And she said, "Absolutely not. I'll protest for peace, but I won't protest against war, because if you put your attention, at something, that's what's going to grow, right?"
War on drugs.
So, exactly right. So, it's like if you're constantly complaining, that's what's growing in your life. That's what you're putting your energy on. And it's not like you want to suppress the bad stuff. You have to work through those emotions because they will wake you up at 3 a.m.
But you can always
But
find the positive within the negative, just like how you
for
found the
sure.
positives within the negatives of being mad at your mom for not paying attention to you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that ended up being a recurring theme. So you find these themes during your week there that you end up having to work on, because the themes repeat themselves in your life and in all your relationships, until you look within yourself and you identify your role and what you can do to change it. Because if you change you, you change your outcome, and your circumstances and what you attract towards you. So it's pretty interesting.
That's pretty interesting. Is there any other changes or things that you learned or things that we missed about 40 Years of Zen?
Um, Yeah, the other thing is well, we talked about not being reactive and then going to a place of curiosity. So I become more curious. And I, also like the four agreements is comes in handy a lot for me. Like, it's never about you. Don't take anything personally is really
Yeah, that's such
99% true.
that book changed my whole life. That
Me
book,
too.
oh man, everything.
Yeah.
That changed everything in my whole life.
I sleep a lot better.
Yeah,
I used to have to take a sleeping pill almost every night, and I don't ever.
that's magnificent. That's a good change.
It's
I was at that
huge.
point. I
Yeah.
mean, not the same fix, but yes, yeah, that's definitely something amazing to get away from. Um, okay.
I'm more
Um,
present. I would say I'm more present is another thing. And I just like connecting with people more. It's just a different level of connection.
yeah. So
I
at the end of it, was it worth the money?
I want to go back. I would spend
Oh,
it again. That's how
so
much I
you
loved it.
so you can be in the expert level.
Well, it's interesting. Like, that's the other thing that I thought was cool is, it's like anything else. You could do marathons and ultra marathons. There's always a next level, adventure races, whatever. But Ironmans, there's so much more growth that could happen. So if I noticed this much change just from 5 days, which they were intense, don't get me wrong, I had to have a 1 hour, 1.5 hour scalp only massage the week after because my head was just so tired.
Yeah.
Um, I want to go back and I want to take my kids. If I had a lot of money, I would take everyone I loved because it was that transformational for me. It was really
Wow.
transformational for me because
That's a
I was in a
statement.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in a place that was ready to do the work. So I don't think it's worth the money if someone is not in a place where they can put their ego aside and realize what they need to do to, do the hard work from a place of authenticity and just submit to the process, because you have to trust the process. I mean, these people know what they're doing. They do it a lot, and it's just incredible.
That's cool. That's super exciting. I think you probably are gonna give them a little bit of an uptick in business from that. That's a great recommendation, and I definitely will make that a point on my list of things to do at some point in the future.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I really recommend it. Can you mind if I see my notes if I have anything
go for
else?
it. Yeah.
Okay, so, oh, this is important. I realize that we can't control anything else. We have no control over anything besides ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
That that releases a lot of burden of responsibility, especially for a mom.
Yeah.
We really can't control anything besides ourselves. And it's pretty cool once I changed how I reacted, like things were smoother. Like even with my
Yeah.
kids, like go brush your teeth, da, 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 all the things that you normally do. It's just like, I love you so much. Take good care of your bodies, my precious angels, and don't forget to brush your teeth. And they will, because now they know how precious their bodies are. It's a different message than just a demanding, managing, controlling kind of attitude, right?
That's really cool. So, yeah. Because that's a really cool outcome of the realization of the fact that you don't have any control over the fact don't have any control over anything other than yourself and your actions, and it translated into the way that you interact with your children. That's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, really, everyone, even people I work with, and,
Yeah.
it's just different. We're
Yeah.
all these beautiful humans just trying to do the best we can with what we have, right?
Yeah, they did the best they could at the time with the tools that they had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who said that?
I don't know, but I say it every day.
It's really true. And once you come from that place, you
It
you
might have
have a
been the
lot
four
more.
agreements. It might have been.
Okay.
It
I
might.
feel
It
like it
might. It
was
might have been.
Roosevelt. I feel like it was Roosevelt for some reason.
They did the best they could at the time with the tools they had.
Something like that. Who
Uh,
knows?
I don't
Probably
know,
20,000
but
people said
but
it.
that's a big theme. That's one of the big themes of like just even my whole platform as a whole is they did the best they could. Like and you, they, us, we, everyone in every action and every moment and everything that you've ever done wrong or perceived incorrectly or perceived as a negative, like just dude, they did the best they could at the time with the tools that they had. Like I mean, and if somebody like if you can take that as far as you want, like rape or murder, like that person, the tools that they had were insufficient to let them know that they shouldn't have done that. Like I'm not saying it's an excuse, but it is a way for you to react differently.
Hmm. Well, and often, unfortunately, people that are pedophiles, they were abused as children, and
Yeah,
that's how they define love. And it's a very
yeah,
sad, terrible cycle.
yeah.
So you can't change who you're attracted to either, can you?
That's
That's
true.
not curable.
Nope,
If I
nope.
said, Joshua, you need to like hairy monkeys tomorrow, that's not going to work, right?
No, I'm definitely never gonna like hairy monkeys. But it is also cool that we all, as humans, we have an attraction to like symmetry. And our brains pick up on that. And I thought it was really cool when I learned that like male brains pick up on the width of women's hips as an indicator of fertility, like possibilities and ability.
It's the ratio, actually.
Yeah.
It's not the width of the hips,
Okay.
it's the
There you go.
waist to hip ratio, or that
There you go.
I think 0.7 is ideal because that actually correlates with fertility.
Hmm.
So it's so ingrained in us to be attracted to a mate that promotes fertility, right?
Yes.
Because,
I mean, that's the ultimate goal of being alive, I think,
exactly. Yeah.
in terms of like a biological sense.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, we still want to have sex after, we want to be fertile. So
Yes, people do that forever.
you'd hope, because it actually is very good from a board certified dermatologist for your health and your skin and your blood flow and your hormones. So keep doing it.
Beautiful. Excellent. That's a good message for people to have. Um, cool. So I also wanted to talk a bit, like I appreciate, wanted to also say thank you so much for your service, whether you did it on whether you did it on purpose or not. That was the word I was looking for. I was about to say impossible. Whether you did it on purpose or not, thank you for your service. I appreciate that. And I wanted to like dive a little bit into your experience of what that was like. I think you said you were in the Navy.
Yeah, I was in the Navy. So going back to my funny accidentally applying to the military medical school story. So once so I got into a couple of medical schools, but I kind of get bored pretty quickly. So I thought it would be really neat to have the opportunity to travel and fly, dive, all of those things. And they all came true, which was pretty cool. But then when you apply, they ask you, do you want to do Air Force, Army, Navy, or Public Health Service? And I knew so little about the military. The only thing I knew was that one of my friends in college, he was in the Navy and he was stationed in San Diego. And I said, oh, I would love to live in San Diego, so I guess I'll pick Navy. So, and I got my first choice. So, I
That's
mean,
amazing.
yeah, everything in life that happens to me that's really good is just a like I trust my instincts. So even though
Yes.
I'm a huge planner, like along the way of my path, something will come in and I listen to it and I trust it and I follow it, and it's the best reward. And that's the best advice I'd give anyone, is just listen to your intuition. It won't fail you because it's your true authentic self, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's something that
Yeah.
I've been trying to tune in to myself as well lately, because I've found myself to be overly analytical in life, and something would, like, choices would present themselves to me, and I would feel something in my gut and then analyze it, and the analyzation came up with like ratios of things that could potentially happen, good or bad, either way. And I would typically, like, the numbers typically support the opposite of what your intuition are telling you. And I've had to learn that the hard way in a couple different situations. And I think lately, I learned a tool from a book called "I Hope I Screwed This Up" by Kyle Cease. And he talks about using this tool of introspection, of looking within inside yourself when you ask yourself a question, and you can tell physically within your body where the answer is coming from. If is it coming from your brain or is it coming from your gut? And you can feel it. And if you ask yourself and it's coming from your brain, well, then you're thinking about it and you're not moving from a place of your intuition and your heart. And if it's coming from your gut, then you're speaking true and moving truly to yourself.
That's beautiful. I like that. Yeah, I really like that.
It,
And we always do these shoulds, like society should have us, or we should do this, and I it the children are born so authentically, and then around the age of like 6 to 8, somewhere around there, they start living in this world where we try to form them. And
it's the agreements.
yeah, yeah, right.
It's the
Gosh, I need to
freaking
read that
agreements.
again.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the freaking agreements. You got to break those
yeah.
agreements that you've made with society about the way that things are, because they're really not like that.
But there's this beautiful movement of people like you and me that are trying to just trust it, just trust it. Like, the universe has a beautiful plan for us, and it might not be the perfect world, but there's a reason for it. There's a lesson in there that's going to take us to the next level. And easy isn't always fun. Easy is not really, the way life is supposed to be, right?
Man, I've gotten to some easy points in my life and I go crazy.
Oh,
I
are
go
you one of those who
crazy.
try to sabotage? Do you try to sabotage things?
No, not trying to sabotage. I just need
Just
a
kidding.
challenge. I just need a
Yeah.
challenge. I always need a challenge. Like right now, I'm doing 3 challenges at once. I'm doing Knob Nom, Tim Ferriss's Knob Nom, which is no booze, no masturbation for 30 days. And then on top of that, I'm doing a bulking protocol where I'm doing. Tim Ferriss also wrote an article called "From Geek to Freak: How I Gained 28 Pounds of Muscle in or how I gained 34 pounds of muscle in 28 days." And it's a specific weightlifting routine of 7 heavy sets of 5-second cadences, so 5 seconds up and down, and then to failure,
Wow.
twice a week, and for 4 weeks. And then the third challenge is I'm only eating chicken, steak, and eggs, and like that's it. I added collagen, and then my supplements are still there, but for
Wow.
food,
All at
that's,
once.
yeah, all 3 of the challenges all at once for 30 days, and I'm on day, I think 10. I think day 10. Going hard,
Okay.
going strong, and this is the first challenge that I've ever given. Like I've been doing these challenges for years, like little things like this, or like quit smoking weed, or do this for 30 days, or something like this for 30 days. This is the first one that I've ever done where there was zero cheating, like zero cheating, straight from the get go, like right
Good.
all the way through, and it's been a crazy experience.
I heard the first 10 days is the hardest, so the next 20 days will be easy.
Yeah, I mean, it really is,
I just
but
made that up to try
I
to motivate you.
hey, no, 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 it's cool. It's cool, and I think, so, like, I am a long-term stoner. I smoke weed all day, every day, 100% operating on THC, and I've been that way for like 5 years, and it's just kind of like who I am. It's what I like. It's what I love, and I've tested the theory of the dependency, in the addiction of that. And so like a few different times I've quit weed on purpose for 30 days just to see like what I could do, like if it was a problem. And after the first time was drastically difficult. That was horrible. It was a terrible month. But ever since then, I've done it a few times since, and I've done a few other things. And like after quitting that and pushing myself to do something that I never thought to be possible within that 30 days, I've come to the conclusion that I could do anything within 30 days, or for 30 days at least. And it's just it's fun to constantly be doing challenges. Like I actually have one kid who's following me on Instagram doing the challenge with me. And, like, I have no idea who he is, and
That's
it's
so
really cool to
cool.
see the effects, the little effects of helping people and inspiring others. It's fun.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's great. That's really impressive. That was like caffeine for me, you know.
Yeah.
I had a hard time. So with
That's the
Zen though,
one thing I haven't. That's probably going to be next on my list.
so Zen is no alcohol, no caffeine, no weed for a month before and after.
Uh, yeah.
Your brain
Before
is
and
worth it
after.
before and after. So with the program though, it takes 6 months for all of the new pathways to take full effect. So you notice things right away. Like the night we finished, I remember saying to everyone, and I don't do weed, so you probably know this feeling, and I don't.
Yeah.
But I said, okay, everyone, there could be an asteroid that falls over there, and I would just say, cool. Because my brain was just so relaxed,
Yeah.
and it went back to normal, obviously, where I could, I
And
would,
that was from
I,
smoking weed from once.
no, that was at the end of Zen because I was so
Oh,
brain dead and they shut off that overactive, like, do,
it
area of
sounds
my
like
brain.
somebody who smoked weed.
But yeah, no, that was just after Zen because my brain was so changed already. But, over time, obviously, I have motivation to get out of bed and to react. If there was a fire, I would leave the room. Like you have
Yeah.
normalization of things. Although every week I notice more changes and maximal changes happen at 6 months. So they won't even let you go back for at least 6 months because you're not even in full effect of what you went through. And then they'll do another brain map at 6 months for free, like included if you want. And I'm
Yeah.
curious to see like what it's like.
Oh man, that's gonna be exciting. Wow, that's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. But I didn't know anything about brain waves before I went in. I mean, I'm a doctor, but not that kind of a doctor. So they teach you, they help you understand a little bit, not to the hardcore science, not to overwhelm you, just so you kind of understand yourself a little bit more.
Yeah. Huh.
But
Interesting.
so I want to go back to your meat thing. So are you having grass-fed chicken because chicken's really high in arsenic?
Yes. Yeah. I eat all organic,
Pasture.
grass fed.
Yeah. Like
I actually,
pasture.
yeah. What I started doing is I found this local shop. It's called Baiz, Baiz. It is a Middle Eastern grocery store, and they sell halal meat, which is, I think, Muslim meat.
Yep, the
Um,
religious. It's the
yeah,
religious.
yeah,
Yep.
religious. Like it's to adhere to the rules that they have within the Muslim religion, and what that entails is grass fed, pasture raised, non GMO, no hormones, none of the things, but it's kind of like going to your local farmers market because they haven't gone through the process of paying for USD or organic. So
Yeah.
it's organic, it's all, and on top of that, it's got a blessing to God of thanks while it was being slaughtered and butchered. So you got all the different things, and it's magnificently cheap. So from Whole Foods, a pound of organic chicken breast is $6.49. From this place, it's $2.39. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yeah, you can go get ribeye, like ribeye or New York strip steak for less than $10 a pound.
Okay, I have it written down. Thank you.
Yes, it's
Yeah, well, I think people don't understand, and like when I did the fitness competition, I didn't even understand, and my arsenic levels went high from having so much chicken. So now I like to tell everyone chicken and rice hold arsenic,
yeah.
if they
Chicken
don't
rice hold
eat off.
arsenic.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
know you try to be healthy and then you hurt yourself with something else, right?
Oh man, yeah. Like I saw a test result of purity the other day, and I found out that the collagen that I've been using tested for some arsenic in it, and I was like,
Really? Which,
Code Age.
oh, why don't you use Bulletproof? I like their collagen.
They're super expensive.
I know, I know.
They're so expensive. The only thing that I can afford bulletproof is the coffee and the XTC oil, and then after that, my budget's tapped out on.
The ecstasy oil, that's awesome. What
Yeah,
about Vital Proteins?
is that a
That one,
brand?
yeah,
Yeah.
that one's yeah, I think it's like 29.95. I think it's $10 cheaper than Dave's.
Well, that's cool. Well, the
Vital
Code Age
Proteins,
is $38, but it's a big ass thing. Like
Okay.
it's lasted me like 3 months.
Yeah, as long as it's grass fed, I mean, you really have to. Otherwise, it's a whole different food. People don't understand, the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio with the protein is so different if it's not grass fed. We are what our animals eat. It's like JP Sear says, you're eating what my animals ate.
Yeah, I actually learned about the omega-6 thing earlier today, because I make on my profile, I make each morning. Because what I was thinking was, like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I don't know enough of the science, nor do I want to learn enough of it to have to go write an article every day. But
Yeah.
other people have, they already do, and I can distill the important parts and show you the things that I already know to be true in my head through other people's actual work. And that's what my thought process was behind sharing a new article every day. And on top of that, I was trying to show the fact that, like, look, I'm reading every day, and this is how I gain my knowledge, by reading articles and by learning and by being curious. And so it gets that, like, all of those different things at once. And so today, the one that I was doing an article about was vegetable oils and canola oils and how bad they are. And within the article, I learned something else. They were explaining how, like, part of the reason that we've been having so many problems with health as we're going on in society with the different changes is because we used to eat a bunch of whole foods that were high in omega-3 fatty acids, and that's what our body, like, went through evolution to learn to use as a fuel source, or to use. And then now we've taken out all of the omega-3 fatty acids and just dumped omega-6 fatty acids on it, and our body doesn't know what to do with it, and it's causing all this inflammation and all these different problems. And that was a cool little insight, and I had no idea that meat had something to do with that too, like, versus grass-fed.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And the marketing is deceptive because even if you buy organic eggs or organic chicken, they're still fed corn and, soy and other
What?
products. Yeah, they just aren't, I think they just don't have pesticides on them. And the profile, I know, I'm sorry. The
So now I have
profile,
to buy, like, the $6 things
you
of
might,
organic eggs.
but just think you won't need, well, you need to eat as much because you want to build those 30 something pounds of muscle, but
Yeah,
for a typical person, you don't need, you're getting more nutrition per calorie, which as you get older, you need to have less calories and more nutrition, so more nutrient dense food. But when the animals eat grass, and for chickens, when they eat little insects, their profile of the meat is so much different.
that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
I
hoping
know.
I think my chicken breasts are good, but my eggs are just the regular cheap organic brand from Whole Foods.
So I don't know if everybody has a Sprouts near them, but I know in Arizona, Sprouts, you can get, I think, Vital Farms 4.99 for a 12 pack, and they're beautiful, especially their heritage ones. They have the most amber yolks,
Yeah.
and that's like lutein,
I
the
actually saw Joe Rogan
zeaxanthin.
post a picture of Vital Farm eggs the other
Yeah,
day.
I love them. They taste so good, and they're really bright yellow, and that's like all of the phytonutrients in it. They go to your eyes and your brain. And I'm 49, I don't need glasses, so I'm
Yeah.
still, although when I
Well,
need
yeah.
glasses, I'm going to be like, oh, he knows what I want the rest of the night.
That works. Hey, why
Yeah.
not? Yeah, glasses don't sound like any fun. At least we have LASIK now. But
Yeah.
going under a laser with my eyes doesn't sound like fun either.
I had LASIK when I was going back to the military. When I was in the Navy, I had LASIK in 2003. I
Yeah.
was nearsighted at the time, so
How was that
um,
experience?
it was
Like,
so weird. This was the beginning of it all. This was 17 years. No, it was maybe 2002. This was a long time ago. So it was really at the beginning of it, and it was in San Diego, and the ophthalmologist that was doing it was kind of one of the cutting edge guys, and it was free when you're in the military, and you're awake, and they take this device and they numb your eyeball, and then they put it on your eye, and it feels like they're pulling your eyeball out of your socket, but it doesn't hurt. It's just the creepiest feeling in the world, and you can't blink. You feel like you can blink, but you can't blink, and you tell yourself, "Don't blink, because I don't want to mess it up." And then you hear like this sound of the laser making cuts, and it
ooh,
lasts maybe 30 seconds, and then they do the other eye because you have two, because we
yeah.
like symmetry so much.
Oh
And
man,
yeah, and then you feel fine the next day. You go to work, and your vision's perfect. It's kind of magical, really.
that is magic. Yeah, that's really cool. That sensation reminds me of an experience that I had. I broke my arm twice in the same spot, and in football growing up. And the second time that I broke it, the doctor, like, it was so bad they had to knock me out to put it back into place. So like
Oh,
and when he put it back into place and he put a cast on it, he put the cast on 45 degrees, the wrong angle, and so my bone healed like the wrong way. And so then 4 weeks into the healing, which it only takes 6, I go into the doctor for a checkup, and they're like, we sorry, we need to take that off, put you into surgery, knock you out, re-break your arm, put a pin in, and then restart the healing process. And I was like, well, excellent. My parents should have made them pay for the bill on that one if they didn't.
oh, and the first bill? Are you kidding me? Like, come on,
I
I
have
want
no
a
idea how it
refund.
works. Yeah, I have no idea how it works, but they should have, now that I'm thinking about
Oh,
it. And so I had that metal pin in, and it went from here to here, like across at a diagonal, and I go in to get it out, and it's not surgery or anything. You're just in like a regular like cast office, and they're like, all right, man, we're gonna numb this area. And then this guy pulls out a scalpel, and he gets freaking real pliers, and he's like, imagine pulling a nail out of wood. And I'm sitting there like, I'm pulling this way and he's pulling this way, and it's that sensation of pressure, like without the pain, that weird, it's like I understand. Yeah, that's a crazy sensation, that they can just numb you and then work on you while you're awake.
yeah, those orthopedic surgeons are like, they're the carpenters for sure. Actually, they don't even want to see you or meet you if they can't do surgery on you.
Yeah, no, I definitely found that. Yeah, or
Yeah,
give you pain
I
medicine.
I
Yeah.
personally try to avoid them. No offense. Sorry, all of you.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh man. Well, it looks like your arm's pretty good now.
Um. So I don't know if you can see there, but flat,
Yep, I could see the bump.
not flat. But that's
Yeah.
because this bone got broken on the growth plate, and this bone kept growing, and they're supposed to be the same. So this bone
Oh.
stunted growth, and this bone kept growing, and so they're supposed to be even. But now this bone's longer than this bone, and so this bone's like sticking out weirdly because I guess my wrist is like got at a weird poking angle. I've
Does
actually
it
been
hurt?
No, but like I can't. There's not the same range of motion.
Wow.
And like in past when I had a girlfriend, if she was laying on me, I can't. Like here, I can do this, but here my hand's just flat. Like I can't wrap it around your shoulder or your arm or anything.
Are you
It's
right-handed or left-handed?
right-handed? Thank
Oh,
goodness.
good.
Thank
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah. But I've actually been contemplating going in there and getting some like exploratory surgery and just having them like file this bone down.
I would recommend not doing anything.
Just
I'm
inject
just
it with
saying.
stem cells and hope for the best.
You know, it won't grow, but the human body is like, we can't simulate it and make it as good as it is, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Actually,
yeah.
I just had a cool thought. So being in dermatology, how much do you know about PRP?
We do it for the face and the scalp. It works great for hair growth.
I need it.
You need to have a follicle, so I can't see anything, but as long as there's a hair follicle there, like most of the time people go from thicker hair to thinner hair, like vellus hairs, like the hairs on most people's arms.
Yeah.
Hair goes from thicker to thinner. As long as the hair is still present, it can grow thicker.
Well,
If there's
that's
no
cool.
hair, it won't grow.
It's not it was completely gone, but now it's not, because I've been using this carbon 360 supplement for hair loss, made by this company called 360 Health, and it's working the way that they advertise Rogaine.
What's the actives in it? Does it have like salt palmetto and
It's literally just carbon.
carbon?
It's
I'm
carbon.
gonna have to look it up. What's the name of it?
Carbon. The company is called 360 Health.
Oh, that's interesting.
The episode or the podcast where you can learn about this from the creator is Ben Greenfield.
Okay.
Ben Greenfield Fitness Podcast.
Okay.
Ian Mitchell.
Ian
EIANMIT, whatever. Mitchell, yeah. You can find it. Yeah, Ian
Okay.
Mitchell. So he's the creator of this company. It's freaking like it's it went from no hair follicle to regenerating the hair follicle to peach fuzz, and it's just not turning black. So I think the PRP might push me over
Have
the
you
edge.
have you done your red light there?
Yes, I do red light every day.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Hair Max laser comb, but if you have a red light, that works great. Yeah, PRP might work. It might
Yeah,
help. It
because I was.
hurts. Just warning you, it hurts.
I
I've
think it'd
had
be
it
worth
done.
trying because I'm a biohacker, and one of the things that I've set out to do, and I'm comfortable with the way I look. I like the way that I look, but it's more of like a I don't like being told what I can and can't do.
You want your options. You
I
want your
want
options open.
Yeah, I want to like if I wanted to grow hair, I want to be able to grow hair.
I hear
And
you.
so that would be really cool to be able to like hack biohack my hair back into existence and be able to document that journey, and show other people how they can do the same thing, because that
For
would be
sure.
magnificent. So
Yeah.
I'm maybe 50% there, I think, and maybe PRP can help.
Over what period of time? Because you need to give any treatment 9 months, just FYI. So you need to
Okay.
give it a full 9 months to see if, and then at that point it's just stabilizing thereafter.
Okay, then I'm only at like 6 months of the red light and the 360.
It
So
won't
do it
hurt
for
you
a
to
little.
try a PRP. Yeah, I can give you
Okay.
some recommendations in town offline.
Do you
It's
not do
kind
it
of
yourself here?
pricey. No, I'm not in clinical practice anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
I'm
cool.
unbiased in my recommendations. I
Okay.
have I have nothing to gain, nothing to lose. I'll just give you some good people. I think it runs about $800 per treatment though. Just keep that in mind.
Is it like laser hair removal where you have to do multiple treatments over a span of
Yeah.
time?
I think what we were doing 3 treatments and then like every 6 months after that you do a treatment. I've had it
Okay.
done twice.
Okay. Yeah, because I was talking to biohacking Brittany yesterday, and she was talking about how she just did PRP on her face, and she was
Yeah.
liking the results, and then she also recommended it for hair loss.
Yeah, it's okay on the face. I'm not as impressed, but I like exosomes on the face. They're pretty cool.
Okay. What are
Yeah.
those?
Um, they're basically uh gosh, it's sort of like PRP. It's basically stem cells from umbilical cords from healthy 25-year-olds. So your own stem cells as you get older, like if you're over 50, your stem cells aren't going to work as good as a 20-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So that's where exosomes come to play. So if we're just doing it on the face, like after microneedling or something like that, and just putting it on, it's not so fun to have your blood drawn and have it, centrifuge down and stuff. It's
That
just
makes
a big,
sense.
yeah, it's just a little less expensive and a little less invasive to put that on you. But for
Uh-huh.
the scalp, I prefer PRP at this point, just because it's your own, it's not foreign, unless you're, over 50 or 60.
Yeah. Interesting. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about the military, the Navy?
Yes. Yes.
I
I know
changed the
we went
topic
into
on
it and
you.
then jumped
I
off.
know, I know,
But yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
you're good.
Never
Yeah.
boring with you.
Yeah. So what was that experience like?
I loved it so much.
What years were you in?
I loved it. 1994 to 2009.
That's a long
And
time.
yeah, I was in 15 years, and people always say, why don't you stay until you were 20? And the issue was with my contract, the first 4 years of medical school don't count until I hit 20. So I would have had to stay in another 9 years for retirement. And at the time, we were living in Hawaii, and my husband at the time was working in Boulder, and the poor guy was commuting.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, that was rough. So we ended up, I got out and we ended up moving to Colorado so that he could be closer to work as well. And,
Okay.
I was grateful to be able to get a job anywhere. But I trained in San Diego. Then I went to Bethesda and I trained the residents there, and I worked at the U.S. Capitol, and
So were you
got
were you practicing as a dermatologist within the Navy?
that's all I did. So when people say
Okay.
thank you for your service, I just say I served those who served.
Hey, I mean you're still in the armed services, and I think
It's just
that's
yeah,
that's
yeah, it's
valuable. I mean every single piece of the cog in the machine matters.
yeah. I mean, I didn't go to war. I didn't deploy. I donated platelets because I couldn't. I had to do something to give back, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be healthy. So, I had great duty stations. I love the people. I love the family. I love the community. I love the sense of purpose that people have, and it's this beautiful family. It's just I really enjoyed it a lot. And then I ran Pearl Harbor in all of Hawaii. I was the only derm in
What?
Hawaii. It
That's
sounds
cool.
great living in Hawaii, but I was on call 24/7. It was hard work. So
Oh, well, I believe that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
we,
couldn't imagine being on a call.
yeah, we spent like 20 hours at the beach a week instead of 40. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Pish, pish posh.
I
The
know.
small things.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really cool. I had a question and it just slipped out of my head as I was about to ask it. I hate when that happens. So like as a dermatologist working in the military, what was I gonna ask? um,
So in the military as a
yeah, thank you.
dermatologist, I like the fact that I didn't have to worry about insurance, so everything's covered for people. And where I worked in San Diego, our program director, he was like one of the major laser gurus in the country. So we got really good laser training and it was free for people, which was kind
Okay.
of nice because we do research studies and stuff. And
What do
it
you mean
was
by
fun.
laser training?
Oh, everything.
Like laser hair
Tattoos,
removal?
hair removal, brown
Oh
spots,
man.
blood vessels, like whatever you can do a laser on. We were like he created the laser hair removal laser.
What?
Yeah, because in the military, guys have to shave, right? So especially if you have dark curly hairs, like a lot of black guys, they would have shaving bumps that would cause really bad scarring, especially on their neck. And you're forced to shave in the military as part of your standards. So in order for that, they'd be shaving every day and getting this scarring on their beautiful skin. So the laser would remove the hairs so they wouldn't grow in any longer, and we mostly did it in the neck because that's where most of the problems were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
So
laser hair removal right here and it did not work. it,
it, do you have kind of reddish hair?
no.
It's, you probably didn't get the right laser. Did you go to a dermatologist office?
Yeah. I don't know. I even went back for like
Yeah.
6 months of treatments and just nothing. No,
That's a
no.
bummer. It should work
It
as
hurt.
long
I
as,
had to go through all the pain
yeah,
with no
no,
results.
yeah, it should work if the hair is darker than the skin. So it doesn't work if the root of the hair is not darker than the skin.
Man,
So
this hair right here is black. I
yeah,
don't understand.
yeah. I mean, it looks like brownish red from like what I could see online.
I have some lights coming at me.
I don't. I'm perplexed.
Yeah.
I can tell you some lasers they should have used, but that's weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So I think it's a cool and important point that you were just a dermatologist in the military, because I am of the opinion that I think we all owe it to America to be of service to our country in some form or another. I choose to be of service to our country in the form of raising higher consciousness and being a voice of love, truth, and like health. But I do think a lot of people could benefit or benefit the country or both ways by being in the military. And I think because for me, when you say go into the military, I think being in the trenches in freaking war, getting shot at and like dying, and like that's it. That's all that comes to my head. And so
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good thing for people to realize that there are many other options and career paths that you can take within the military to serve your country that will never interact with like actual battlefields.
Yeah, I mean, I had the potential of being deployed, and for me that would be scary because I wouldn't be a dermatologist if I did that. I'd have to be a general doctor,
Yeah.
and I didn't have the skills
Do
to
you have
do
the
that at
medic?
a certain.
I was about to say, do you have the medical school skills to do that?
Yeah, so we all go to medical school, and then we spend 2 years as a general physician. So at that point, I would have been fine. But after 10 years as a dermatologist, I don't think I would be able to use a stethoscope again. So at that point, going back would be, you know, not very good because it's sort of like doing something you were good at 10 years ago that you don't do anymore. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no, it
I
makes a lot
did
of sense.
trauma. So we all trained with trauma and advanced ATLS or advanced trauma life support. We did all equally train at that. So we were capable of doing that in the early parts of our career. But after 10 or 15 years, I certainly wasn't ready yet.
Yeah,
I couldn't have done that. I don't think I would have been the best person serving. And I have a rule that if someone could do a better job, they should be doing it. I don't feel that I need to be the cowboy when I know someone else can do better. But I do love the military, especially for people that come from, isolated environments. Or for me, like I grew up like working class. I didn't really know any jobs out there besides teacher, policeman, doctor. I just knew like the five jobs that you could be. And then when I went to college, I realized people are city planners and, all these other jobs that
Yeah, there's
exist,
so many things in the universe, like anything you can
right?
imagine.
I know. And that's why I like the military, because you meet people from all over the country, from all different backgrounds.
Okay.
And you may have parents that told you you couldn't do anything in this world. And then you go into the military and you realize how many opportunities are out there. And you have these mentors and people who guide you and protect you and look out for you. And, some of these young guys, they go and they buy a car that they can't afford. And they're, exactly.
And
And
not now, but I have done that.
exactly. But you have this, I'd say brotherhood, but they're sisters too. You have this family that will go and they'll say, you ripped him off and we want a refund now, or we'll make sure no one in our platoon goes and, shops here. And they protect you and they look out for you and
That's cool.
they take care of each other. Yeah, it's a really beautiful community.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
that's super super important. Like I found community within my football team now, and I think ever since then, and leaving the place that I was born, I've been on the search of community, and I think it has to come from teams, from groups of people like getting together to achieve the same goal. Like, and for me, like right now, I've been finding that in jujitsu, and I think
ooh,
that's really
that's a good
cool.
sport. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, I'm
That's a
in
great sport.
love. I actually last night I grappled for the first time, and since I started training again, I did it a little bit when I was a little kid. But this is the first time I started grappling last night, and I was like, oh, I understand. I understand. This is the sport. This is the sport because you get that fight and you get that attack and you get that like that release. Because I played football for 10 years and it's just ga 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 all the time, and
Yeah.
then it just poof disappears and you have no release of that in your life. And so for me, it's been really nice to get that like attack feeling of the just like the manly aggressiveness, but without damage to the brain.
Yeah, it's power with ease too. That's the beauty of jiu-jitsu. It's such a powerful sport and you just do that one position and it's like, okay.
Have you done it?
My younger son would do it and I could go on Saturdays and do it with him and I didn't know anything. I just made stuff up.
Yeah. Hey, that's how it goes a lot of the time. That's what I think. That's what a lot of it is.
It's really fun. Yeah, it's kind of intuitive, being a girl, you have to have some skills.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, that's really, I have so much respect for that sport. I like it. It's a good,
Yeah. And Brazilians are cool. Got a
oh,
good
that's
culture.
so cool. But I
Yes.
want to go back to your community comments. So I heard something recently. I don't know if it was a book or something I was reading, and the reason why Homo sapiens made it, right, and all the other Homo blah blah blahs didn't make it is because of this sense of community we have. So we're not the strongest, we weren't even the smartest, but we have the ability to work together in groups. And like if this whole pandemic hasn't taught us anything, I think that I really hope, I don't want to use the word hope. I I think that people have more of an appreciation for connectedness because we've been deprived of that a little bit,
Oh yes.
right? And how powerful it is. And at the end of our lives, that's all that really matters, right? Is the people that we're surrounded by and the people that we're connected to. And it's just, it's everything we really are. That's what
Yeah.
made us here. That's what made us come here.
Yeah. It's
Because
so
we could
important, and
attack
we're
an
so
animal in a group.
disconnected. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that comment of experiencing it right now and people being of starvation or in starvation for that is super true. Like for me personally, like I moved into Phoenix, and then for a couple months later I got a girlfriend, and then focused on that, and then forgot to build community outside of that. Pandemic hits, lose girlfriend, no community, and you're like poop. Everything's shut down, and so like that starvation for community is very true, and people are definitely going through that right now. And I think it's definitely worth whatever you got to do to search that out and find it to help yourself, because
Yeah.
I don't think people can get on without that.
No, I think you're right. We really can't, and I've kind of given up. I had to hug everyone now. I don't care anymore.
Ah, no. Oh man, I don't know. I'm
You
not.
need like 10 hugs a day, I think, in order to fulfill your oxytocin
Yeah,
reserve.
that's a good benchmark. 10 hugs a day, doctor's orders.
Yeah, exactly, right? I know.
Doctor's orders.
Yeah.
Got
That's
it.
what,
That
that's my
that's a good
quote.
one.
10
Okay.
hugs a day.
10 hugs a day to keep the doctors away. Okay, so we're running up on 2 hours here, and I have a few final questions that I would like to ask you that I ask everybody that comes on the show. First question is, what is your definition of success?
Oh, this has been ingrained in me since I was a little child. I was lucky enough to have a wonderful mother who always told me that success is doing what you love. So living a life of purpose and doing what you love, and the rest will
Excellent.
flow to you. If you do what you love, you're going to succeed. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You're the second person today who said that same exact answer.
then it must be true.
Yes, the other wording of that was um, being fulfilled in what you do.
Yes, sense of purpose for
Yeah, sense of
sure. Yeah.
purpose. Okay, excellent, good, super simple, guys. If you hear that, just follow your heart. Got it. Okay.
And that doesn't mean like sitting on the couch eating chips and smoking weed all day.
Yeah, no, you don't do
There's
that.
no
You
sense of
you
purpose.
smoke weed and then go run a marathon.
Or like give some love to someone in some positive way that's going to be contagious, and smiles are free.
Yes, smiles are amazing. I try to smile at everybody. That's one thing that I hate about the masks. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I want to smile.
You still have the squinch though. So this is when I do Botox in people, I don't overdo it because this is a fake smile. And then this is the real smile. You get the squinch. Look up the squinch. The squinch is an authentic smile. It's that little squinch thing.
Okay, I believe you. I believe you. Yeah, it's still there. We got lots of little telltale signs. All right, so let me throw this one at you. What is your definition of enlightenment?
Oh, I'm learning that every day. I become so much more spiritual every day. Enlightenment. That's a good question. I should have done more research, Joshua.
Well, I wouldn't
No,
have
I don't
prepared
like
you
to
for this
I
one.
actually don't like to plan. I like to wing it. So for me, enlightenment is kind of seeing above the chaos, right? So if you're in a chaotic situation, kind of stepping above that and taking a bird's eye view of what it all really means and the greater significance or purpose of it all,
Hmm.
and rising to that level. Does that make sense?
Beautiful.
Okay, that's
So,
what it means to
so
me.
looking at the chaos and rising above it consciously.
Yeah, because really not many things are as horrible as we like to make them out to seem. So when you step above that and you're grateful for all the things that you have and seeing the bigger picture of things, that's enlightenment.
And I think that circles back to your realization of the instance with your mom and realizing that, there's good to come out of that situation. Or for instance, I ride a motorcycle, and it's my only transportation, and I lost my key the other day. And I lost it within my house. I didn't leave. Like nothing happened. So like it has to be here. It's still here somewhere. And I don't have a very cluttered house. It's very open. And I looked in my house for 12 hours at least, like over the course of 3 days. Just picked up everything in the house, moved everything, cleaned everything, changed everything, touched everything. It's not here. And the whole time I was freaking out. I was so distraught, like for no reason, like over this key, like because I felt trapped, whatever that means, whatever.
You lost your options. You're a guy who likes all your options, and you lost your option.
Right. And I was just freaking out over this the whole time, and then I tried to pursue a couple different like answers for the thing, and then finally I got a hold of some guy at a shop, and I was asking him how, like, would you put this completely new ignition in for me if I buy it aftermarket? And he was like, no, you actually just need to call a locksmith. And this was a week after I lost it, and I was like, oh my goodness, all of this trouble, and all I needed was one sentence of call a locksmith and it's fixed. And so I call this guy, he comes out and it's fixed within the day. I have a new key and everything's back to normal. And I was just like thinking like, wow, all of that frustration, all of that trouble, all of the anger and freaking out for just absolutely zero reason whatsoever, because the ending of that story was going to be the same no matter what. I was going to get a key somehow, and I work from home, so I don't have to worry about commuting, and so anything else is just like you said, an option. And I was doing some self-reflection on that, and I realized that if while I was in that week of stagnation and not being able to do anything, even in the midst of the freaking out, I was doing some like self-analyzation on the things that I was doing in life. And I was realizing that I was actually extending myself a little too far and trying to accomplish a couple too many ventures, because this is a full-time job. I have a full-time job. Being physical and like working out is a full-time job. Instagram is a full-time job, and I was trying to create like a master class on how to live rent-free, and then I was trying to write a book, and I was trying to do a couple other things, and I was just like super scatterbrained and not able to complete any of them. And so while I was in this lockdown and stagnation and not moving, I had this realization, or I like subconsciously made the decision to discard everything and focus 110% and undivided attention on the podcast and on my Instagram stuff. And then I came out of that, and then I put it all together. After like a couple days later, I was thinking, and I was like, oh my goodness, I would have never had this rebirth and refocus of my daily energy had I not gone through the crazy stress of losing my key. And it was just a blessing in disguise, because the universe needed to put me on pause for a second so that I could do some introspection. And it's just like that, bringing the good out of the bad and rising above the chaos and realizing it. And I could have just done that at the beginning.
Well, and you might next time. And that's the gift, is you just realize what your gift was from that experience, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
That's the beauty of it. And I think enlightenment is realizing that the plan is bigger than what we think it is. So
that's good.
It was.
The plan is bigger than. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it always
was
is
bigger because you didn't see the plan. You needed to be forced to see the plan by going through that experience.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so crazy. I lost the key, freaked out, and then learn the new path in life. It's like, what?
And maybe you lost the key because you would have been in an accident. Like, there's so many reasons, and I kind of believe these things happen for a reason, Oh
yeah, and that has been 100% confirmed today with my I forgot the word again. Fruition, bringing it to fruition. Manifest.
Yep.
I manifested something today.
You're manifesting,
Yes.
Manifesting is good. I can tell you a good manifesting thing.
Let's go.
Is the day I showed up at 40 Years of Zen, and I didn't realize I manifested then, but I am kind of a manifester. And I showed up, and I have a home in Park City, so I was traveling from Park City to Seattle and then back to Arizona. So I was trying to figure out what I needed to bring with me to go to both places.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, I don't like checking on bags, so I make sure everything's on the carry-on. So I get to Zen, and I get to the hotel, and I realized I have no bag to carry my stuff in every day. I said, oh gosh, I have no bag for my notebook and my water bottle and all the stuff I want to bring. I wish I had my black bag. I said, should I go to the store and get a black bag for the week? That seems silly waste of the day. I really just wish I want my black bag, but oh well, I'll figure it out. I told myself in my head, I'll figure it out. I'm going to go for a walk and enjoy the town and explore the trees and stuff. I go for a walk. I'm walking down the street. Across the street, there is a wood table. On top of the wood table is a black bag, and next to it is a sign that says free.
What?
I'm not lying.
No.
And it didn't even faze me. I walk over, I look around like this, like, really? I look inside the bag, it's empty.
Dave Asper put that there.
And
he knew.
No, and I took the black bag and I kept it the whole week, and then I left it, in the hotel room to pass the love for the next person that maybe manifested a black bag.
Wow.
So, yeah. So we all have that ability. And you have to put it out there, surrender it to the universe, and not be attached to the outcome. I think when we're attached to the outcome, like, I need to get on my motorcycle now, like, it's against the will of the universe,
Yeah, precisely. That was good. I need against the will of the universe at this moment. That's a profound saying. I like that. Against the will of the universe.
I just made that up. I don't know.
It was good. It was
I
fantastic. I think you do. Okay, so final question for you. What is the number one thing that somebody can do on a daily basis to help change the world for the better?
Oh, I thought you were going to say do for me. I was going to say foot rub. I'm just kidding. Okay, what is the number one thing that someone can do on a daily basis to make the world a better place?
To change the world for the better.
Yeah, I think that's a big ask for one person. Like, I think if we make one person uh, expect to do too much for one person, that is a um, fear that elicits fear for some people. So, on a smaller level, I think we have way more opportunity to make impact. So, like, for example, your podcast makes a giant impact because everyone that listens to it is going to hear one or two or 10 or 20 messages that are going to hopefully cascade and cause like a domino effect that are going to help other people. So, in my opinion, that's the best way that people can make an impact, whether it's smiling at someone who's having a bad day and turning things around, being it's really kindness.
Yeah.
For me, it's just small acts of kindness.
Yeah.
I personally like to leave little painted rocks on the trails because I like to
You're
hike
that
bike.
person?
I'm
That's
that,
you?
I'm one of them. I think it's contagious. Yeah,
It is contagious. Yeah, I see a ton of them.
do.
They're so amazing. They're
Because
so
I mean,
cute.
if you have a bad day and you come across something, your whole perspective on the world can change and on humanity. And I think that's all we need to do. It's super contagious.
Yeah, you're super right. I think your answer to that on a small scale is actually big scale. Like, and I think when you say like small acts of kindness, I think that is the like, if you were to frame that, if like that is a one thing that somebody can do to change the world, because I think even the smallest act of kindness can, like you said, have ripple effects, and those ripple effects create more ripple effects, and as we create more and more and bigger ripple effects, then we have this awakening and shift of consciousness towards oneness, love, and truth, and I think that starts with being kind.
It does. It's so many little things that just raises the vibrational consciousness of the collective. And, just like opening the door, turning around when you're walking in a building and looking at someone in the eyes and smiling. Like, how significant is a little action like that,
Yeah, a
right?
lot. Instead
Or
of everybody
letting,
just has their head down now. I don't get it. And I'll
yeah,
wave to people and smile, and there's like,
it's
bro,
very suppressed.
community.
It's
Yeah,
a suppressed.
hello.
Yeah, I think people are feeling suppressed, and that's why it's so much more important for us to kind of just try to share that kindness and that intention. It's an
Yeah,
intention of like, I'm looking at you and you matter to me, and your words matter, you matter. Like, oh, okay, you go ahead of me. Like, I can I can be 3 seconds behind today. Like, go ahead.
yeah.
It's these little things as opposed to being in this I'm the most important and I deserve
The
this. And
world revolves
it's
around me.
yeah, we tend to get in that busy state. And if nothing else, I hope these last 6 months have made us realize like minimalism is good and being overly busy isn't any good.
Yes, I believe
Yeah.
that to the core of my being, and that's really cool. Thank you so much for your answers. That's amazing. So
Thank you.
before we close it out, do you have anything to promote? I know you have a website.
I put zero effort into the website, so I'm not promoting the website.
Okay.
I'm just being honest. I would say that if someone wants to do an online dermatology consult with me, you can go, or with any dermatologist if I'm not licensed in your state. There is a website called dermatologistoncall.com, and it's telemedicine. I think it's like $50 or $70 for a visit, and you get to upload your pictures and you don't have to go to the office. That is one thing, and that's really it. I just enjoy talking to really interesting people like you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed this conversation. I think it was super informational, super like has a lot. We talked about so much. I think we covered I think this could very well have the potential to change somebody's life. There's that many good things in this conversation, and I had a really good time, and thank you so much, and I think we should definitely do this again at some point.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting how people who are aligned attract each other into their lives. So thanks for the work you're doing,
Yeah.
Joshua, and I look forward to your growth. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Me as well. I appreciate it, and I want to end this with a namaste. A namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Bye,
I'll see you
Joshua.
later.